In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner...
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Clark Update. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We have another major story to examine, especially for everyone following Caitlin Clark and the rapidly changing conversations surrounding the WNBA. Before we begin, let us know you're part of the Clark Update Army by commenting CC 100% below. We always appreciate seeing Clark supporters sharing their thoughts. But today's discussion requires more care than usual because online rumors have begun spreading faster than verified information. With that important distinction in mind, let's get directly into what happened, what people are claiming, and what the available evidence actually supports.
Thing rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possible.
Have you ever watched one short clip explode online and become something completely different from the original moment? That appears to be what happened after footage involving WNBA star Brittney Griner began circulating across social media. Some accounts claimed that Griner said, "I'm a grown man" during an emotional exchange, and the phrase was immediately reposted without context across Instagram, X, YouTube, and other platforms. Within hours, users were slowing down the footage, offering conflicting lip-reading interpretations, and treating an unclear video as though it were a confirmed public statement. The reaction became chaotic, but an important fact was quickly buried beneath the outrage. An ambiguous clip is not reliable proof of what someone said, and it certainly does not establish anything about that person's sex, gender identity, medical history, or eligibility to compete. If you appreciate breakdowns that separate documented information from viral speculation, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Most viewers still have not subscribed, and supporting the channel helps us continue covering stories like this responsibly. Now, let's return to the controversy.
Fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and...
The clip gained even more attention because it was connected online to Caitlin Clark, the young star whose arrival has helped generate enormous interest in women's basketball. Clark has attracted large crowds, national television audiences, and intense online discussion, so nearly every interaction involving her becomes magnified. When footage of Griner's emotional reaction began circulating, some users presented it as a direct confrontation with Clark, while others said the video had been stripped of its original context. The supposed phrase quickly became the center of the conversation, even though social media lip-reading is notoriously unreliable and different viewers claim to hear entirely different words. From there, the discussion moved away from basketball and entered far more personal territory. Accounts began making unsupported claims about Griner's body, biology, and identity, despite there being no credible public evidence supporting those allegations. What started as disputed trash talk was transformed into a broader argument about gender and competitive integrity, with speculation repeatedly being presented as fact.
We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her.
This was no longer ordinary commentary about a foul, an argument, or competitive frustration. The conversation escalated when users resurfaced old images and claimed that an automated moderation system had supposedly classified Griner's body in a particular way. That interpretation was then used as evidence for increasingly extreme theories. But automated content moderation systems are inconsistent, context-dependent, and frequently make mistakes involving lighting, clothing, image quality, framing, and countless other factors. A platform failing to blur or remove an image does not reveal a person's chromosomes, hormone levels, medical records, or sex assigned at birth. Nevertheless, timelines were soon flooded with conjecture involving hidden identity changes, intersex traits, and undisclosed hormone treatment. None of those claims was supported by verified documentation, statements from Griner, league findings, or credible medical evidence. The speculation spread because it was provocative, not because it was proven. A viral video had become the foundation for an invasive narrative built almost entirely from assumptions.
About holding.
The WNBA now faces a broader challenge that extends well beyond one viral clip. League administrators must protect competitive integrity while respecting players' legal rights and medical privacy. Some people have proposed mandatory hormone testing for every athlete, believing that universal rules would eliminate selective targeting. Such a policy, however, could invite legal challenges, scientific disputes, and accusations of unnecessary surveillance. Others want a targeted investigation into Griner, but opening an inquiry solely because of online rumors would risk validating misinformation and establishing a dangerous precedent. Any eligibility review should be triggered by credible evidence and applied through established procedures, not initiated because a hashtag is trending. Sponsors and broadcasters undoubtedly monitor controversies that could affect audience sentiment, but claims that companies have withdrawn budgets, prepared secret campaigns, or demanded investigations should not be presented as fact without documentation. Controversy can generate ratings, but it can also damage a league when speculation overshadows the sport itself. Players may hold different private opinions about eligibility policies, yet there is no verified evidence that WNBA locker rooms are collapsing over Griner's biological status. Assertions that teammates have noticed something unusual or secretly demanded disclosure are anonymous claims unless supported by named credible sources. Athletes should be free to advocate for clearer rules, but they also deserve protection from rumors that place their bodies on public trial. The league's future depends on creating policies that athletes and fans understand, enforcing those policies consistently, and refusing to let viral misinformation dictate disciplinary or medical decisions.
They're confident in her abilities, but there's also a little delusion.
Public opinion remains sharply divided. Griner's supporters argue that her dignity, privacy, and right to compete should not be threatened by an unclear clip or commentary about her appearance. Critics say women's sports require firm biological standards and complete confidence in eligibility procedures. Those two concerns are often presented as mutually exclusive, but a responsible system can defend both fairness and individual rights. Social media, however, rewards outrage rather than nuance. Polls attract millions of votes, hashtags collide, memes spread faster than corrections, and emotional posts are treated as evidence. The WNBA's limited response has been interpreted by some as suspicious, but an organization is not obligated to answer every unsupported allegation directed at a player. Sometimes refusing to amplify a rumor is the more responsible course. The larger debate involves the values the league claims to represent: fairness, inclusion, transparency, player safety, and competitive integrity. Those principles are genuinely being tested, but the test is not whether the league will expose one player's private records to satisfy online curiosity. The test is whether it can maintain clear rules while preventing athletes from being targeted through misinformation. Once the disputed clip went viral, the story reached sports programs, podcasts, team discussions, and casual conversations across the country. Conspiracy theories mixed with legal arguments and ethical concerns until the original basketball moment became almost irrelevant. Major outlets walked a difficult line between covering a trending controversy and profiting from sensational claims. In the modern media environment, conflict produces clicks, and provocative allegations are often repeated before they are verified. That is exactly why viewers should pause before accepting a dramatic interpretation simply because it has been reposted thousands of times.
Like the confidence BG, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's not a...
One commentator claimed that Griner would be no better than the third-best post player on a men's team. But comparisons like that do not establish anything about eligibility or identity. They are hypothetical sports arguments designed to provoke reaction. Online creators then describe supposed emergency meetings inside WNBA headquarters, legal memoranda, nervous sponsors, divided locker rooms, and an impending gender verification crisis. None of those dramatic details should be accepted without credible reporting. The WNBA has long promoted inclusion, but inclusion does not mean abandoning competitive rules, just as enforcing rules does not require public humiliation or speculative medical investigations. Caitlin Clark was also pulled into the controversy despite having no demonstrated connection to the claims. Because she has broken records, attracted massive attention, and become one of the league's most recognizable figures. Almost every WNBA dispute is now framed around her. Trolls use her success to inflame racial, generational, and cultural divisions, while critics accuse other players of resenting her impact. Clark has generally tried to keep the focus on basketball and respect for her fellow athletes, which is the most constructive approach available. The WNBA should welcome difficult conversations about policy, but those conversations must begin with verified information. Fans can demand clear eligibility standards without spreading claims about an individual's chromosomes. Commentators can criticize Griner's statements, behavior, or performance without misgendering her. Supporters can defend her privacy without pretending that questions about sports governance are illegitimate. Those positions can coexist. If you have followed the story this far, remember that we are still dealing with a viral clip whose wording and context remain disputed, followed by layers of unsupported speculation. Do not watch from the sidelines intellectually. Ask hard questions, examine sources, distinguish evidence from assumption, and support women's basketball without turning athletes into targets of dehumanizing rumors. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your opinion below about how professional leagues should balance transparent rules with medical privacy. Every voice can influence the conversation, but every responsible voice should also recognize that fairness begins with telling the truth.
The park over here.
Fans and commentators began demanding explanations, but many of the questions being asked relied on a false premise. There is no verified evidence that the WNBA knowingly allowed an ineligible athlete to compete, and there is no credible documentation showing that Brittney Griner concealed a biological status or secretly underwent treatment to gain an advantage. Griner is officially recognized as a woman and has competed in women's basketball throughout her career under the rules of the organizations governing those competitions. Her height, strength, wingspan, and athletic ability are extraordinary, but elite sports are filled with athletes whose physical characteristics are far outside the population average. Being 6 feet 9 inches tall or possessing unusual power does not prove deception. The disputed phrase in the video may have been misheard, used figuratively, directed at someone else, or never spoken at all. Without clear audio and reliable context, treating it as a covert confession is irresponsible. Social media users nevertheless examined every frame, facial expression, and movement as though they were conducting a scientific investigation. Podcast-produced episodes, memes spread rapidly, and commentators divided into opposing camps. Some defended Griner, while others accused her of dishonesty without producing evidence. Beneath the spectacle is a legitimate discussion about how sports organizations create fair eligibility policies, but that conversation cannot be responsibly conducted by targeting one athlete with rumors about private medical information. Intersex variations exist. Transgender athletes may be subject to specific league or federation rules, and hormone regulations differ across sports. Those realities do not provide grounds to assume that any unusually tall or muscular female athlete has a concealed condition. There is no public record showing that Griner underwent a gender-related medical transition or violated WNBA eligibility requirements. Claims involving genetic testing, testosterone therapy, bone density, or hidden medical treatment remain speculation unless supported by authenticated evidence. The resurfaced social media image proves nothing beyond the fact that moderation algorithms are imperfect. Turning a platform's automated decision into a biological diagnosis is scientifically meaningless. It is also important to distinguish policy questions from accusations. A person can debate whether leagues should adopt clearer eligibility rules without claiming that a specific player cheated. The WNBA and other professional organizations must balance competitive fairness, legal obligations, medical privacy, and respect for athletes. That balance is complicated, but it cannot be replaced by internet rumor. Silence from the league does not automatically confirm wrongdoing, particularly when the allegations themselves are unsupported. Organizations often avoid commenting on private or defamatory speculation because responding can legitimize claims that have no factual foundation. Fairness is central to women's sports, and supporters deserve confidence that competition is governed by consistent rules. Wins, records, championships, and individual achievements should be earned within a transparent framework. At the same time, fairness also requires that athletes are not subjected to invasive accusations simply because their bodies do not fit someone else's expectations of femininity. Demanding genetic tests or private hormone records from one player based on appearance, height, voice, or an unclear video creates serious ethical and legal concerns. Brittany Griner has already lived through intense public scrutiny. Her detention in Russia, imprisonment, release through a prisoner exchange, and return to professional basketball made her both a symbol of resilience and a deeply polarizing public figure. Those events can be debated on their own merits, but they do not validate unrelated claims about her identity. The internet's demand for the truth often sounds reasonable until it becomes a demand for access to someone's confidential medical information. Some users have called for hormone panels and genetic testing, while others warn that such demands encourage discrimination and body policing. That tension between competitive regulation and personal privacy is real, yet it should be addressed through universal, evidence-based policy rather than selective suspicion. Caitlin Clark's rise has intensified nearly every WNBA debate because her popularity has changed attendance, television interest, merchandise sales, and the atmosphere surrounding games. Crowds are louder, arenas are fuller, and players are receiving more attention than ever before. Some critics have interpreted complaints about noise, media coverage, or fan behavior as resentment toward Clark. Others argue that established players are adjusting to a new level of exposure and scrutiny. Commentator Patrick Bet-David and others have criticized Griner sharply, connecting her comments about fan behavior to the league's historically smaller audiences and to the extraordinary attention Clark now commands. Those critiques are matters of opinion, but they should remain focused on public statements and basketball rather than unsupported claims about Griner's sex. Discussions of race have also entered the controversy, particularly because many black WNBA stars believe their accomplishments received less mainstream attention before Clark arrived. That concern can be examined without blaming Clark for her popularity or accusing other players of jealousy, without evidence. Sports history is full of established stars reacting to newcomers who reshape the business. Michael Jordan faced the Jordan rules. Serena Williams endured hostility while becoming one of the greatest athletes ever. And nearly every transformational player has generated rivalry. Clark's fame will naturally attract criticism, but competitive tension does not justify personal harassment. Loud crowds, booing, chants, and pressure are part of professional sports, yet threats, discriminatory attacks, and invasive rumors are not. Griner's performance should be judged on the court, and her public comments can be challenged directly, but neither requires turning speculation into biography.